So we're good, right? Do we just want to start?
Maybe we should wait a couple of minutes.
I think we should start at like 3:05-ish.
Okay. We can a minute.
Okay, guys.
Presentation or disco.
Yeah, I can see it, so I hope everyone else can see it. Yeah, so this week we're talking about marketing. So starting off, what is marketing? In simplest terms, marketing is the act of driving profitable customer action. It spans the full scope of strategies and tactics organizations use to position products and services in the marketplace and motivate target audiences to make a purchase. So basically, you just want to get the customers to do something, rather it's purchase something or like buy your service or something like that.
So, as it turns out, marketing has a big role throughout the entire process of the product lifecycle. So, first, a company has an idea for a product or service. So, then they do some research, they survey the market, and they determine whether their idea is viable. Then, after a lot of effort, the product or service is produced and released to the marketplace. And now, at this point, it's time to tell people about the product, and this is where the marketers get down to work.
So then marketers start by researching their audience, crafting a marketing strategy, and determining how to position the product and craft messaging to promote it. So this starts out by figuring out where to reach that audience, whether it's on online platforms or physical beings like posters, podcasts, etc. And then you determine the right message to connect with them. So kind of a hook at the beginning of your paragraph or beginning of your essay. So something to grab your audience's attention and make them want to further research your product or service and then eventually purchase it. So then you want to figure out the series of actions that the audience needs to take to make a purchase. And you start mapping out tactics and channels to deliver that message that we talked about. And then finally, measuring the results of your marketing activities, which we will talk later about, but this is a really important step.
So the basis of marketing is the marketing mix and the 4 Ps. Usually if you learn about marketing, every teacher will bring up the 4 Ps up, and that stands for product, price, promotion, place. They're all pretty self-explanatory, so I won't go into, or we'll go into detail about them on later slides. But you can also see this as 7 Ps of marketing because someone changed it, but the original four is like these 4 Ps that I just explained.
So the first P of marketing is product, and basically the product is just what the company sells, whether it's their physical good or a service. So for example, this can be consulting, it can be a subscription, or it can be something else. So the following should be determined when you're considering your product. So how many different product variations or lines should be sold? So for like cars and trucks, this would be like how many models, different models do we need, and do we need like a different series of cars, and how should they be packaged or presented? So should they be presented in a really nice box, or should they just be given out in bags? And how will it be serviced? So will it come with any warranties or any return policies?
So the next is price. So prices need to be set at a level the market will support. So what is the market rate per unit of a product? So you want to determine a fair price using cost to produce and what people will pay. So how much they're willing to pay, but also a price that you will benefit from. So you should also consider how should the discounts be timed and applied. So like Fred mentioned, in car companies, usually there are certain times of the year like Christmas or around the holiday seasons where they have discounts. So like Boxing Day sales, I guess. So you should determine how these discounts be timed and how they should be applied through the year. The last thing you want to think about is, does it make sense to give customers options for different types of payments? So, like Afterpay, and some stores only take cash only, for example, or debit and credit only. So these are things you need to think about whether they will benefit your company or not.
So these are some like definitions on price. So I'm not going to go over all of them, but I'll go over the more important ones. So a markup is the percentage of cost. So let's say that the original cost of something was $1, but then someone sells it for $2, then the markup price would be like 50, 100% because they doubled their profit. Meet the competition is where companies will lower costs to match other companies. So, for example, when you go to get gas and you see you have two gas stations beside each other, like for example, Shell and Petro, they usually have like very similar gas prices so they can stay competitive with each other. Um, there's also seasonal, which are products to be sold at discounts when they are out of season. The biggest example for this is probably clothes because clothes, when it's past the season, they'll always go on sale. So a lot of people go shopping for the season's clothes after that season for the next year. There's also variable pricing, which um, are when prices are different during different times. This is different from seasonal because it has nothing to do with the season, but it just depends on the time of the year or something like that. There's also penetration pricing, and that's when a product is priced extremely high to see who will purchase it and decide on the target market from those customers. So, this could be a benefit because if people do purchase your product, you're earning a high amount of money. But also, if people don't purchase it, then you're kind of just at a loss. And lastly, market skimming is a product is priced very low to make a lot of sales and turn a profit that way. So that just means you're trying to get as many people to buy it um, as it has a really low price. And so pricing comes in sensitive and insensitive. So products sensitive products are ones that can be substituted if the pricing is too high. So like food and technology. Like let's say you think an Apple phone's too expensive, you might get a Samsung or an Android instead. And insensitive is just products that cannot be substituted if the pricing is too high, such as housing and water, because you can't really change that. Like the government decides that.
So the next P is promotion. So once a product is out there, it needs to be promoted so that people actually knows that it exists. So for this, what you need to consider is which channels will be used to promote the product. These can both be offline and online channels. Where will this be promoted? Again, it can be offline or online. It can be in stores and at events. And what message needs to be communicated. So this is basically just what your product is about and what you want your audience to know about it.
So moving on with promotion, so there are different elements of a promotional mix, which we will go over a bit more in detail later in the slides. But the five main ones are advertising, public relations, direct marketing, personal selling, and sales promotion.
Okay. So talking about the last P, which would be place. So the right product needs to be in the right place for people to find and buy it. So questions that you would ask for this is where's the product distributed, online or offline, um, and where will specific locations get the product, such as like if you sell parkas, you don't really want to sell them in a warm place like Africa, and so you basically want to find the best places to sell your product for it to reach your target audience.
So another important aspect of marketing is competitive advantage. So if your company has a competitive advantage over another one, you can use that to your advantage by marketing that advantage, and then people will be more likely to buy your product if they see that yours is better. So some competitive advantages could be lower production costs because this would lead to lower prices, and then better quality and better design. If obviously if your product is better, people would rather have your product than your competitors. If your product has more benefit of use, so they can get more use out of it, then they'd prefer your product over others. And customer loyalty. So loyal customers who have bought from you many times are a lot more likely to buy from you in the future than just a new customer. So if you have a more loyal customer base, you have a big advantage over your competitors.
So next is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this is just a kind of diagram illustrating how people must satisfy lower levels of the hierarchy before pursuing the higher levels. So it starts off with physiological needs, safety needs, love and belonging needs, esteem, and self actualization. So you can use this model to your advantage and figure out which stages people are in their lives and use that towards your marketing for your different products or services.
So next, I will be talking about the philosophies of marketing. So there are four philosophies of marketing. The first one is the production philosophy, and this basically concentrates on increasing production, controlling and reducing costs, and in the end makes a profit through sales volume. So this could be an example of this could be like selling eggs. Like um, you want to produce more so you could sell more, and that will result in a profit for you. The next one would be product philosophy. So this would be good quality products, which basically sell themselves. They concentrate on improving and controlling quality, and there is greater profit through increased sales due to quality products. So an example of this could be like Apple. Like their phones are pretty known as like good quality, so everybody wants them. Next up, there's sales philosophy. So this places emphasis on stock clearance, aggressive sales and promotions, profit through quick sales of high volume. So this could be like something like chocolates at Valentine's Day or like roses at Valentine's Day. It's because they have so much of it and they sell so much of it that they create a lot of profit. And then the last one would be the marketing philosophy. And for this one, it is just vital to satisfy the customer or consumer's needs through a coordinated set of activities. So, for example, this could be I don't know if you've seen this before, but there's a shampoo brand. It's called Function of Beauty. And basically, like you can customize it to whatever you want your hair to be. So you can be like, I want my hair to be soft. I want it to be like this or that. And then it customizes it to satisfy your specific needs, and that's basically this the marketing philosophy.
So now we're going to go over 10 areas of modern marketing that are pretty essential to understand. So the first one would be content marketing. And the main idea behind content marketing is creating content that helps inform your audience and solve their problems. And this achieves a few important goals. This first builds an audience, it establishes authority, and it drives your sales. So the content part of content marketing is primarily just blogging and website content, but it can also include email, social media, video, or ebooks.
So, next is email marketing. When it comes to driving conversations, it's tough to beat the return on investment of email marketing. So, different studies cite different figures, but it's generally accepted that it drives around 3,800% to 4,200% ROI, meaning that every dollar spent, it produces $38 to $42 in revenue. So, email marketing, those kind of emails that you get from different shops that you usually you go shopping for, and when you're at the cashier paying, they ask you for your email, and then you keep getting those emails. Although they may seem annoying, it's actually a very effective way of marketing because you are caught up on all the new sales that are happening and maybe like a new product line that's about to release.
So the next one is social media marketing. This is the reach on popular social media networks is declining on popular platforms like Twitter, Facebook, but social media marketing is far from being gone. It's effective for building brand awareness, developing community, and getting your content and products in front of new people. So, if I was a new company, I'd probably go on Instagram and post whatever products I was selling on Instagram, as Instagram has that one shopping tab that you can press. And so this is a great way for new people to get to see the products of like smaller companies.
So another type of marketing would be online video marketing. So over 400 hours of video gets uploaded to YouTube every minute. And YouTube is the world's second largest search engine, just behind Google. And it's not the only video platform out there for marketers to know about either. Wistia is practically the industry standard for hosting embeddable web video, and Vimeo is a fantastic place for creatives. And social video on Facebook and to some extent Twitter as well is also becoming increasingly important. So obviously, with so many people watching videos on the internet, it's obviously going to be very lucrative if you can get your ads in front of these videos. A lot of people will be seeing them, and you can attract a larger audience.
So next is the advertising and pay-per-click. So have you ever seen those ads that are at the top of your search results? So those are called pay-per-click or PPC ads. So PPC advertising offers marketers excellent opportunity to sell products directly to searchers. And it's also great because it makes it possible to see exactly how much you're spending versus how much revenue your advertising efforts are generating. So if you're searching like specific keywords that relate to that company or your product, your website or yeah, your website would show up, and then it would be a direct link for the marketers to reach the audience.
So um, I'll be talking about search engine optimization. Few, if any, tactics or channels drive more traffic on average than search engine optimization. It's the process of structuring content and executing other tasks that can help improve your site's search engine rankings, pulling in an audience that's interested in the topics your site covers and the products your company sells. So, for example, if you were just searching up like shoes or something, that would make you be one of like a hot like higher on the search engine. So like the first link would be like something and like that would make your link higher on the list basically, which would really help. And it's not really something that people often think about, but adding in like some keywords would really help move your site up this ranking.
So another pretty essential aspect of marketing is public relations. So, even in an era packed with new and flashy channels and tactics, good old fashioned relationship building remains essential for effective marketing. And PR is all about managing perceptions and relationships and ensuring that the public thinks positively about your brand. Obviously, if your brand is always in a negative light and people don't think very highly of it, people are going to be less likely to buy your product and you won't be making as much money. So, it's always really important to make sure that the public is proud of your company and is would be proud to be call themselves loyal customers.
So next is influencer marketing. So why talk up your products yourself when you can have trusted folks promote them for you? So that's the crux of influencer marketing, which involves working with popular people with a given niche or industry to put your products in front of their audiences. So that's been happening a lot on TikTok with Charlie D'Amelio and Addison Rae and all these famous TikTokers, where they are marketing certain like skincare products, clothing brands, and that product, your product, gets reached out to all their audiences. So it's a very effective means of marketing, especially in today's world.
So next up, we will be talking about developing a marketing strategy. So marketing can really be boiled down to these following questions: Who are you trying to reach? What do you want them to do? How will you encourage them to take that action? And how will you measure your market's impact on influencing that action?
So, why is a marketing strategy important? What does a strategy get you? So, basically, a marketing strategy gives you a sense of direction so you can use your time more effectively and understand why you're doing your work, and it'll increase the odds of you achieving your goals. So, obviously, having a marketing strategy at the back of your mind it allows everyone in the marketing team to know what they're doing and know what they're working towards, and it allows your marketing to present a more unified message that your audience will be able to relate to more.
So, getting to know your target audience. So, first things first, companies exist to serve the customer. So, you need to figure out exactly who those customers are and what problems they need solved. So segmentation is a way that or a technique that marketers use a lot to figure that out. So the process is dividing up a market into distinct segments, like similar clients, each of which will have its own marketing mix. So either geographic, demographic, psychographic, or behavioral techniques will be used to target those specific audiences. So these methods, they are relevant to your audience. So appealing to children versus appealing to adults. So they will definitely be different, which is why your techniques will change.
So, figuring out what you want your customers to do. So, once you've determined who you need to reach, the next step is basically figuring out what's required to move them towards a sale. So, for some companies, this is simple, convincing customers to grab a product and buy it at the store, getting them to onto a mailing list or becoming a social media follower. For others, like service-based companies, you might want them to get potential customers to place a phone call for a demo before they want to commit to purchasing.
So now that you know what you want your audience to do, you still need to get the customers to act. And so here are just some influences that affect customers' behaviors. So there are internal influences and external influences. So internal influences are influences that come from the customers themselves. So this would be like their needs and wants, and this is defined by Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So obviously, depending on what they're worried about and what stage of the hierarchy they're at, you can use this to your advantage to market towards that specific need. And some other internal influences would also include the customer's worldview and whatever their preconceived attitudes and beliefs about the world and about your product are. And so external influences are influence that come from the customer's environment. So this would be like their culture and their background, any content that's put out in the media, in the news, and the movies. And this would also be their peers, so like their family and friends who have an influence on them.
So understanding the marketing funnel is really important to determining which actions you want your audience to take. So the funnel helps illustrate where customers are at in the buying process, from being unaware of the product or having a problem to researching different options and then actually coming down to make an actual purchase. So it goes from awareness, interest, consideration, intent, evaluation, and purchase. And these stages that the audience takes or the customer takes is really important for your marketing strategies, as it will help either speed up the marketing funnel process or slow down.
So, this is what funnel marketing looks like. So, the top is discovery, the middle section is consideration, and the bottom section is purchase.
So while there are different ways to illustrate funnels, they typically map out customer buying into the following phases. So there's top of the funnel or tofu, and this is when the customer is unaware of a product or a company. And there's the middle of the funnel or mofu. This is when the customer is actively researching different products. And there's the bottom of the funnel or bofu, and this is when the customer is ready to buy a product.
So, determining your tactics. So, part of an effective strategy is narrowing which tactics you will use or implement to achieve your goals. So, when you're just starting out, this can always seem daunting, but there are always more things that you can do than what you actually have time to do well. So, where do you start? So, according to Co-Schedule survey of 1,500 plus marketers, here are the most popular content types. So, there are blog posts, which are 48%, social campaigns, so 24%, emails 14%, and ads 5%. The lower few are ebooks, white papers, courses, webinars, and podcasts. So notice that blogging and social media and email marketing round up the top three. So for most companies doing content marketing, those are the three most obvious places to start. But of course, that doesn't mean that ebooks and podcasts and webinars, for example, are completely off the list. You have to have a variety to reach all certain types of audiences. But determining which tactics may work best for you may be another story. So, for example, maybe you're doing marketing, but not actually content marketing specifically.
So, how do you reach out to your customers? So, just consider the following process. Consider this process. So, know your audience and who you are trying to reach. Figure out where those people hang out, where you can reach those people, and think on which tactics and channels could reach those people in those places. Which marketing activities could be used to reach the right people in the right places at the right time. So, for example, um, if you were doing social media marketing, you probably want to use Instagram for teenager if you were marketing towards teenagers because generally the age demographic for Instagram is younger compared to something like Twitter and Facebook, where the age demographic is typically higher. So you'd find more teens on an app like Instagram, which would be a better place to reach out to them.
So once you have your whole strategy in place, you need to be able to nail the execution. So this would require having the right skills, having the right staff, and having the right tools. So once you know what to do, you need to know how to do it, and you need to put the right people into the right place to be able to be successful. And a professional always uses the best solution to tackle a given task or problem that's given to them.
So, what are some common marketing skills? So, the skills a marketer needs depends on the role, but some basics apply to lots of different types of roles. So, this includes verbal communication. So, marketing is definitely all about communication and being able to express your ideas clearly, whether that is through pictures, through posters, or through podcasts or webinars and actually verbally communicating with them. Communication is key to marketing. Second, writing. So you'll definitely be doing a lot of writing, whether it's creating content or emails to stakeholders. So developing your writing skills now will definitely benefit you, especially how to grab your audience's attention. So working on hooks and expressions that you can use to help that. Um, Research is always very important in marketing. The more granular, often the better, which seems a bit weird, but usually more specific facts and more specific details is what kind of allows the audience to feel more reliability towards your company, towards your service, instead of just giving an overview research. So last is analytics. So understanding how to spot trends in data is essential, which will help you determine the trends of your company or trend of the product, if it's increasing, if it's decreasing, or if it's staying the same, and what techniques you need to use to either improve that or, yeah, to improve that.
So, how are marketing departments usually structured? The way teams are built depends on the company's size, industry, budget, and a lot of other factors. Some companies have teams of one, while others might span multiple marketing teams across multiple departments or business units. So, for example, like a company like Facebook would have like it's a massive company, so it'd have multiple marketing departments, probably one for like their Instagram app, one for Facebook, and one for WhatsApp.
So, how are marketing tool stacks typically built? So, the tools those teams use to execute their work might vary depending on tactics and personnel. And some common tools practitioners use include project management tools. These are needed to keep teams organized and projects on track. Editorial and marketing calendars. These are used to set deadlines and map publish dates. Marketing management platforms. These are tools like CoSchedule, which consolidate several of the tool categories listed above while integrating other popular tools. And there's SEO tools. These are used to monitor keyword rankings, do competitive research, track incoming backlinks, conduct keyword research, and more. And there's CRM or customer relationship management software. And these are powerful platforms used to store customer data and maintain relationships with customers.
So, last is, like I mentioned before, understanding measurements and analytics. So, if you can't measure the impact of your marketing activities, then you may as well not be doing anything at all. Every action should always be connected to a specific metric and in service of achieving a specific goal. So there should always be a trend that you're following or a trend that you're researching, not just random analytics that have no means of supporting your company or your product.
So thanks for listening, guys. This was the marketing presentation, and we'll post the attendance on the Discord or the classroom. So you can go do that. And you're free to go.